Sand King is the pickup here from Army Geniuses. Jonathan, how do you feel about that?
And they have the Mirana Sand King combination. Burrow Strike into Arrow is really strong, so that should be your off lane with the Mirana on the 4. Means her Silencer is likely support or mid. Maybe on the off chance, safe lane for AG. It's still pretty open in going as a core or support. We'll have to see. I think Silencer support with Mirana can feel a bit lackluster because you lack stuns, but the Sand King compensates. Dreammaker, they've got the Beastmaster Sven. So they've got really good push coming through with a Beastmaster. Dominator into Overlord timing is key. Sven, we've seen this hero really be a mixed bag. Sometimes it gets kited around really hard, and sometimes it looks amazing with the damage output. So I think in this case, against what AG has, it shouldn't struggle too hard. I think the Silencer with a constant DOT can cause some issues in terms of, say, blinking in and trying to move around in fights, but you don't have too many stuns to worry about in AG. It's just that Burst Strike Arrow combination that you have to watch out for, and a BKB kind of solves that issue for Sven, which he naturally builds into. This does mean our Dawnbreaker is looking like support 5, perhaps? Maybe mid, as you mentioned as well. Like, playing Dawnbreaker mid could be something that comes through from Dreammaker, but I reckon it's probably a 5 with a Rubik 4.
Five
Sven Dawnbreaker as a lane. It sounds pretty good. Sven plus Dawnbreaker, you have a good stun to line up for Dawnbreaker spells to land. You can just hammer in, be aggressive, up against the Sand King. It sounds decent, but I guess, again, you could run it mid if you want to. But AG could kind of flex out their own response with that mid. Like, we could see the Mamangdaya Silencer mid against Dawnbreaker. That sounds like a pretty good lane for the Silencer to play. It's up against a melee hero. Fairly tanky, but your magical damage will eat right through her if she's not careful.
I don't know if I like the sound of that 5 Dawnbreaker. I realize where you're going, John. I do like the whole, they have the setup for the queue and whatever else, but I feel like, we want to see a core Dawnbreaker today, John. We've been waiting a long, long time. We want to see a core Dawnbreaker. We don't want this hero to be a support.
True. Then I guess you could flex the Beastmaster mid, run the Dawnbreaker for a Chantavi Scope. That could be something.
The axes are dead, John. The axes are dead. Let it go. Yeah.
Like, the level of 15 talent, it's a good spike at a good time if you do go for the Ags build, but who does? It's just kind of fallen off, and yeah, I don't think that's feasible. I mean, you could play it mid and still rush Dominator Overlord, perhaps, but doesn't seem likely. AG, they've got the Terrorblade, so they have an actual core that scales instead of something like the Bloodseeker from DB last game. Terrorblade should be able to build up farm. This is a good counterpoint to the Sven. We have seen Terrorblade versus Sven before. Really easy to kite the Sven out once you have the Scotty up. So that's probably the bigger timing for the Terrorblade, but even early on, just getting the farm up. You can keep up with a Sven. You're not going to be completely out-farmed, but you do have to secure that jungle. And I think Dreammaker can kind of make that tough with a Hawk Vision, with a push they can bring out. They tie it up with an Invoker as well. So they do have a really good hero to buff up with the Invoker with a Sven. So Alacrity on Sven, boost up the damage. Good team fight coming through, as that was lacking for Dreammaker. So they can play with the Tornado EMP. The Ice Wall is going to be good in terms of holding back AG as well. And it's just down to see what AG wants. Are they going to close out with a mid, or will they flex that Silencer towards the mid lane?
I think you are right. It probably is going to be a +5 Dawnbreaker here, John. Sad, sad times, but what can you do? We'll see what they can do. I mean, I'm sure the hero can still be a really good support. I don't think you're going to get to the point where you have the Ags up, but, can still make some work happen.
Yeah, I'm keen to see what sort of plays they do with the Dawnbreaker. Like, it does have a rather diverse kit. It has a heal, it has a stun, it has global presence to a certain extent with its ult. So it does feel like it plays faster as a 5. It's less about information gathering. As a pause 5, you're probably just going to put your body forward, try to harass out the offlane to buy space for your Sven. Up against the Sand King Mirana, that does sound easier said than done because of the Burst Strike into Arrow combination. But I guess, it's just one of those things where as long as your Sven is farming, you don't feel too bad. And counterpoint to that is you could play with the Stormhammer and just line up for the Dawnbreaker to also land her spells, her control off, and kind of run from there. So it can be back and forth. I'm just not sure who it really favors. It does feel a lot better for the Mirana lane. And yeah, Spirit Breaker last pick for AG. So that is... It's a UK
Oh,
song.
there
Mama
it
Dias.
is.
Oh my god.
Yes. Yes, this is what we needed, Jonathan. If we're not going to have core Dawnbreaker, bring on the mid Spirit Breaker. Right?
Oh
Someone's getting
god.
broken, John. We something's
Yeah.
getting so they're breaking things, John. A lot of breaking going on this game.
I feel like Mama Dia talked to Dreamosol and got this terrible idea from him. I swear to goodness, because he was using like, I think it was Mama Dia. He was using Dreamosol's picture. If not him, then someone else. I can't really check right now, but we'll see. My own experience with Dawn Spirit Breaker mid from Mr. Streamer himself was not amazing, but we'll have to see because Mama Dia made he made Darkseer mid look amazing. So I think the matchup against Invoker, it doesn't sound particularly great, but I guess level 1 you could try to harass out with a bash and just kind of zone him out. Initial levels for Invoker are shaky. Very different draft from both sides for game number 2. I think AG have fixed their initial issues in game 1, so they have a win condition in DB, and as long as he farms, he should be happy here and hit that Scotty timing to control that Sven.
See how it pans out. I mean, AG definitely don't want to go finishing their night off with a 0-2 loss against Dreammaker, but I'm sure Dreammaker would be very happy to finish the night off like that. We'll have to wait and see. Very excited to see how this one pans out, as we are going to head into game 2 very, very soon. What do you reckon, John? Who do you think has the better draft going into this game 2?
Tough to say. I think everything in AG looked great until I see Spirit Breaker mid. I don't actually particularly rate Dawnbreaker highly right now, overall. So I don't know how its impact will be, especially on the 5 roll. We'll have to see. I would have said AG if not for Spirit Breaker. So yeah, there you go. Kinchai play apparently means whatever play, and I think AG might be embracing that philosophy a bit too hard by actually allowing Mamang Daya to play Spirit Breaker mid.
No, I think it's good, John. I think it's legitimately good. Well, why wouldn't it be good? You get a bottle, secure some runes, secure some power runes, get your Aghanim Scepter, maybe an Echo Saber. You know, well, why wouldn't it be good, John?
It has its timings, it has its room. I think my main issue is that you do want early activity on the Spirit Breaker, so maybe you just rotate LYM out, and the Mirana can kind of play around with, say, a charge setup down the line. You have decent ways of dodging around with the Bulldoze as well for the stat resist, so it can be hard to lock him in. It's, I don't know, it goes against the grain what we see in mid. It tends to be slightly farm, not completely farm heavy nowadays. It has shifted back to 1, but it does feel like you have a big tempo setter that does look for mid game items and be effective. Like Spirit Breaker can do that, but then the issue is scaling towards late game for this hero. It doesn't flash farm well, although you could try with charge, but you do have to keep that initial game activity up, and that should mean Mama Guy is going to have to take a more active role and probably just run around by the time he hits level 6.
CZ1, the Rubik. This is another hero that I think is coming back, especially after this patch, John. A few buffs being made to the hero, but you only need very little buffs for Rubik to be considered a very busted hero. And naturally, with the re-emergence of Earthshaker, because we all know that. Oh, hold on a minute. LYM and CDR looking for a first blood. They get the Celestial Hammer out, and LYM is going to drop. CDR able to pick up that first blood gold. And Pos 5 Dawnbreaker already doing work.
Yeah, it's just one of those things, right? Like, if you have a stun setup, you can easily land your spells, get the damage off for the Dawnbreaker. LYM did opt for the arrow level 1 because he is laning with Sand King, but that did leave him vulnerable. If he had leap, he might have been able to stall out, but then he does nothing in lane for basically a level. So it's a trade-off you get. Good punishment coming through from Dreammaker. For their part, their lane, it should be steady. Again, they've got a Stormhammer sort of set up for the Dawnbreaker. Once you get level 2 with Starbreaker up as well, there is a lot that you can do in that lane. You will still have to watch out for the Burst Strike Arrow, but initial levels for it, it's going to be tough to zone them out. There's a lot of HP on Dawnbreaker, a lot of HP on the Sven, and that should mean that you should be more than willing to just stand there and fight.
I love the fact that the Dawnbreaker can literally just keep running up to them and hitting them. Like 720 HP at level 1. If this actually turns out to be a position 5 hero, could you imagine? Just runs around with Orb of Venom, first item, just hitting people, and they can't do anything about it. So we'll have a look at the other lanes for a moment. Mid lane, you've got Mamang Daya against Rose. So Invoker versus Spirit Breaker lane. Something I can't say we get to see very often. Do you favor a particular hero in this lane, John?
I'd say it's actually pretty even. The Invoker should be able to find his farm quite nicely. There is always the threat of charge into Chain Bashes. At the same time, Rose can kind of cut off the charge with the Tornado, with the Cold Snap as well down the line. So it's not solid enough for Mamangdaya, and you can see his shortcoming as a melee hero there is, it's easy enough for Rose to zone him out. He is fairly tanky on the Spirit Breaker, but you're not a natural bottle carrier. So I'm keen to see if Mamangdaya is actually flying out that bottle. No, he's just going for the boots. And that should mean, Rose is also not a bottle carrier, because it's an Invoker. So in that sense, it's kind of alright. I just want to see when Mamangdaya does commit for the rotations, or when he asks for rotations mid, because you have such early spikes with a Spirit Breaker that it does make sense to maybe look for arrow plays and just look for kills.
In top lane, of course, DB going to be there against Shantavi Sorkin. You've got UK and CCY against each other as well. Pretty big pull going on here from UK, but Shantavi Sook is going to intercept on the Beastmaster. Basically just start farming up himself. No problems for him. Pretty kind of standard drill here between the two. Mid lane, Mamangdaya dropping extremely low there on the Spirit Breaker. Does have that level 1 Bulldoze, so is able to get away. I believe there was a Cold Snap committed by our Invoker. Naturally won't last quite as long with the bonus status resist, but unfortunately for Mamangdaya, he does have to make an early reset for himself at the fountain. But I suppose he does have the TP, and you also always have the charge back as well.
Yeah, that's the one thing with the Spirit Breaker. You can just head back and lane no problem. Up top, Shantavisuk was dropping fairly low, but not quite enough to die off. UK, again, he does go for that Arcane Curse Last Word build, so there's a lot of damage that can fly out in the lane, and they are actually getting decent enough space out for DB, although he is lagging behind the Sven, but that's to be expected. You're dealing with a tougher off lane with the Boar Slows coming through, and the Terrorblade is slightly less tanky. I mean, he has a lot of armor, but not much HP, so it's harder for him to sustain up front, and that can be a bit of an issue down the line. So far, even start, Dreammaker still slightly ahead. We're not seeing AG line up down bot to play with that Burrow Strike Arrow combination just yet. Trizom does have level 2, so the Starbreaker's on. You could try to play around with that and the Celestial Hammer along with a Warhammer, a Storm Hammer, and just look to burst someone down, but AG's not really giving them that opportunity.
Kind of a cute lane when you think about it, like Sven and Dawnbreaker together. Kind of like a nice little couple, right? Between the two. Oh, it is! Think about it.
Yeah, skill-wise. Skill-wise, yeah. Like, yeah, skill-wise, yes. I don't know any other implication there.
No, you don't have to make it like that, John. Oh, mid lane, Mamangdaya. Farming the side camp. I guess you can still farm side camps in Spirit Breaker. It's just a bit of a slower process, but he has gone for the max bash.
Yeah.
UK apparently making a rotation. Oh, you got your mind out of the gutter, have you, John? You ready to do some analysis of Dota 2?
This is the one reason why the Spirit Breaker mid just feels super awkward. Like, clearing out the side camps is super slow. Rose has like almost a 2x CS lead over Mamangdaya at this point, and that's not a good sign. Level 6 up in Rose, more orbs up, 3 in the Quas, 3 in the Wex, has pretty good damage, and you just get zoned out. I was expecting maybe movement out from LYM, and again, with Charge Arrow, that felt like a really easy kill, but they're just opting to play it a bit slower, and overall, I think that pacing does favor Dreammaker. Like, your Sven is up there in CS, your Invoker's not threatened, your off lane's also not too bad for Shantavisuk, considering that it's against a Silencer. So, all things considered, Dreammaker in a pretty good point right now.
I think both teams are going pretty well here. Like, even DB at the top lane of the Terrorblade doing a really solid job in just CSing that top lane. Shantavisuk, I mean, he's having a decent time as well, but isn't able to do too much to slow down DB's farm on the TB. UK. Nice little D-ward there. Tornado, they're going to fly out. Rose. It's a pretty early rotation on the Invoker. Does have the earn up though, so definitely wants that first kill and does get his 2 charges. Meanwhile, Trizam going to try and run, but in the end is going to drop to the damage of LYM. They do end up getting the Dawnbreaker in the end. Army Geniuses, their first kill of the game happening in the offlane.
Yeah, nice pickup to get. It took a while for them to pick off the Burrow Strike and Arrow combination. Not really emphasizing on the Sven, which is fair enough because he's highly tanky. Dawnbreaker, slightly less so. Still has a lot of HP though. But for Dreammaker, losing their pos 5 is not a big deal. CDR is at the point where he can clear out a couple of smaller stacks in the jungle. The triangle is still well protected despite the wards. And his Mask of Madness timing is lining up. That's the point when the flash farm for Thunder really kicks into overdrive.
Uh-oh.
He can go subtle though.
Yep, completely with the Starbreaker there. Arrow's gonna land thanks to the charge of Mamang Daya, and now Trezam, he's gonna try and run, but there is no running. The Spirit Breaker proving to be too powerful. You look at that build up, John, on Mamang Daya, he's going straight after that Shadow Blade. That's the way to play it, because you can use it mid-charge, and it does a lot of damage, and they'll never see you coming.
Yeah, and the build up into Silver Edge is really nice as well. It gives you more damage output if you do want to go that route. And this is what we were looking for from AG. Early rotations out, getting some kills off. They have to watch themselves. So is DB.
DB, that's a big kill. And Chantav Isuk not even needing to use the Roar there on the Beastmaster, which is a bit of a concern for AG. The fact that he just kind of gets away with that. That's going to allow this Sven to really start to overtake in net worth now. Just about 1.5k ahead of DB already. And as a Sven, you are set to escalate way faster. Look at these stacks. CDR, he'll enjoy that. While DB, he's just respawned up again.
Yeah, it's going to be slow going for AG. Now, as the game scales on, we talked about the core matchup. Terrorblade with Scotty can kite around a Sven. So you do have hope there down line still. Rose.
Yeah, Arrow does land. They've got the Invoker. Rose Tornado is going to be there. And with the Ghost Walk, he might make it out. CDR's going to show up on the Sven to boot. And they'll try to chase LYM. Eventually, Rose will sneak his way out as well. There was a charge incoming from Mamang Daya, but he decides to cancel that off. And all things being said and done, I've got to admit, Mamang Daya's net worth right now is pretty abysmal, considering he is one of the mid laners. He's very far behind.
Yeah, I think he needed more rotations on mid, perhaps, from the Mirana. I know I've been seeing that for a while, but Spirit Breaker escalates by kill Swami.
Yeah, in trouble. Cleave out. He's going to go for the Burrow Strike, but is out of mana. Now in the backside, Trezam with the Celestial Hammer setting up and does find a kill onto UK with the Starbreaker. Mamang Daya immediately roared up. Does not really have the Bulldoze going to at least take the stun off earlier. And man, Dreammaker, they are just completely demolishing the side of Army Geniuses. And poor old UK, he's asked for a pause right now. Yeah, he doesn't know what's happening.
Yep. Dreammaker just playing a lot faster with her draft, which is something that, again, this Beastmaster can enable. They've already got the Dominator up, so they've got a creep forward, good stun follow-up if they do find the opportunity. And because CDR had those massive stacks, he's just willing to be up in front now.
There's an Arcane Ring. It's just on the... Yeah, CDR finds it. Whose was that?
Oh, that was AG's? Was it? Yes, it was AG's.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, that's an oopsie. I wonder if that's because Mamang Daya charged true, perhaps? Because that happens.
Yeah, right. Well, Mamang Daya, not going to be too happy with himself over that one. Arcane Ring, pretty nice item. You know, plus 10 in, plus 2 armor.
That's exact.
The mana you get from the active, always very nice. As a Spirit Breaker, you probably would have actually enjoyed that. So,
yeah.
Not anymore.
Radiant are scanning.
But that is one little thing with the Spirit Breaker that I had to experience in that lobby. Dreamer was charging around, he cleared out like 3 camps, we lost like 3 neutrals. So you do have to be slightly cautious. Maybe have your team just farm for the neutrals ASAP so it's not a non-issue. Because you start to lose a lot if that happens consistently. Mid-tier 1 being shoved in by Dreammaker. Moonlight committed from AG. They're going to go for the defense.
That they are. Rose going to get charged up. They'll go in with the Burrow. Arrow to follow up. And here comes the ulti, but the Global Silence is going to cancel that off. And that's one of the things that's really hard with the Dawnbreaker. Is you can't channel the ulti with Global Silence because it will just get cancelled. And it's really annoying.
Yeah, I think that's why Silencer pick was really strong here for AG. It just counteracts the Dawnbreaker in a big way. Like, the DOTs are annoying for her. You know, getting silence is generally not good for most heroes. and your presence is just gone. Once you see that glow from the sky, just hit global silence, and then you're pretty good to take that fight. You cut off one hero entirely from her sustain and control for the team fight. So really good foil there from AG, but the mid-tier one will still get shoved in. CDR shows up, God's Rent ready, charge.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Sam gonna get slowed up there by the last word. CDR not really concerned whatsoever with what's happening on the side.
Has fallen.
Just gets the tier 2 or rather tier 1 mid tower. Arrow gonna fly through but lands on nothing. Meanwhile, Mamang Daya gonna charge down towards the bot lane. Really rough time here though. Like, you look at that net worth, and the only person really having an okay time is DB on the TB. But even then, it's not that great of a time. I mean, Mamang Dai on this mid Spirit Breaker not really doing it justice either, John. It's net worth just so low, but behind the opposing position 3. It's very, very problematic here.
It's like this timing on the Shadow Blade is going to be pretty late, and you're just seeing the issue with Spirit Breaker. If he doesn't find those kills, he can't really ramp up and flash farm. He's not a farming hero at all. Inside of Dreammaker, just abusing that well. They're grouping up as 5, forcing out tower pushes with his Beastmaster. The team fight options for AG, we have seen them take them with the Epicenter, with the Global Silence. They do have a lot of damage output, but they can't really fully commit every time. They can't get tossed around like this every time by Dreammaker, because you start to fall behind on the map. They are still holding on to hope with DB, but because he lost out in the initial jungle farm and because of the stack difference there for his Sven, it is slow going, although...
Global Silence committed. Looks like they have found Shazam. That was actually a Global Silence out from the side of Dreammaker. CZY stole it, and now the Starbreaker's there, connecting on 2. He'll go right in for the ulti, but there's your real Global Silence from UK. But can they even get the kill? Shazam, he's being charged up. Last word is there, but it's not going to be enough. On the other side, Wami is going to get caught in the tornado. They've already lost the Mirana, and now they lose Wami to boot. In fact, they'll go after another. UK gets caught out. So 3 to go down for Army Geniuses, a 5k net worth lead. And it is very evident that they are not feeling too good right now. I mean, they must be very tired. It's just not the same side we're used to seeing.
Yeah, they're just not lined up. I think they are living by that Sinchai play that was called out earlier, just whatever play. And the game plan doesn't seem to be quite there. So Dreammaker playing spectacularly as a team, though their coordination's on point. We haven't seen a big Solar Guardian yet because, well, Global Silence is a spell. They might be able to find Chantavis Sook, though. There is still a charge coming in.
Raw is available. He'll commit it to make sure Mamang Dai doesn't connect. Trezam's going to show up. Celestial Hammer out. Starbreaker is eventually going to be there. Mamang Dai avoids the stun. It won't matter, though, because he dies so darn quick. I mean, it's not even... He's just nowhere near tanky right now. He still doesn't even have the Shadow Blade. He's not even close.
Yeah, there's just no farm. He can't farm because he's a Spirit Breaker. He's not finding kills because, well, he doesn't have initial items to play with. And they kind of lose out in that mid-rotation potential with charge plus arrow. So now finding some of these isolated targets are harder because Dreammaker is much more clumped up and pressuring the map. They are still trying to get space out for DB, but the gap between DB and CDR just keeps growing. It's not shrinking at all. You have about a 3k difference between these two cores. CDR is about to hit that BKB timing. For the Terrorblade, when it starts to feel good against Sven, is Scotty, but you're not close to it. You have the Yasha, you have Dragonlance, you need way more before that Scotty starts flying up.
I just realized Trezam is level 8, Mamang Dai is level 9. So your POS 5 on the other team is 1 level behind the mid laner of Army Geniuses. And CZY is the same as well, by the way. He's level 8 as well. I mean, this is just not good news if you're Army Geniuses.
No. I think some of it's down to draft, but most of it's really execution. Like, again, with a Spirit Breaker, you need to really bulldoze early on. And with the mid lane, you had really good setup. With the charge into arrow, maybe even get the silencer in on that action, start to build up some instacks. But never really came out. And as AG played a slower game, Dreammaker got the better end of the map and start to build more, although UK.
Yeah, does get caught out. Chantavisuk is there. They've got him. Sort of pick up onto the silencer. UK. I'm not sure what he was even doing it down to the bot lane, but what can you do right now? It is all about the random plays from AG at the moment. So the drunken style, I guess you want to call it, John.
Yeah, definitely. It does seem rather woozy from AG. Honestly, this seems like a simulation of some Southeast Asian pub games. This is the essence of C pubs. This is what happens when you play 7 games of Dota in a row. The 7th one is this. So kids, stop while you're hot. Don't overextend because you end up with something like this. Too much Dota makes you very, very tired.
Which I learned very fast after that 24-hour stream, John. That was I picked up on that very quickly. Wommy, nice burrow strike away. Starbreaker not landing. LYM, he is around the area on the Mirana. Not sure how much he can really do right now for his team. Chantavisuk bot lane is going to spot out UK. Might just go for the Raw here. Maybe not. He'll just let the creeps take care of it. UK, he'll have to juke out the Centaur. Trees will get chopped down. Chantavisuk, do you want a Raw? He doesn't need to. Fade Bolt is there. CZY, he doesn't even flinch. Doesn't even try to go for the lift. Just straight into the Fade Bolt. And now they're going Roshan. I mean, why not?
Yeah, you've got a double damage. You've got basically nothing to worry about there. Lots of armor on the Sven, especially since he popped the Warcry. So, nice easy objective for the side of Dreammaker to take. Courier coming through on the opposite side here from DB to buy out his ultimate orb. So, looks like his Manta is done and should be a slight boon for Terrorblade. Whether or not it's enough to stand against the damage output and control on Dreammaker is another question. They still are taking Rosh. The arrow does scout out at last, but they're being cut off already.
LYM being chased down with the Spirit Vessel out from Rose. Tornado going to land. He'll try and run with the Moonlight Shadow, but the Moonlight got purged off by the Tornado, and now, or rather, yeah, he's just going to die. Meanwhile, towards the south, they've got Wommy as well. Just falling like flies here. Side of Army Geniuses. DB, he's trying to catch up. I mean, he's got Manta, Dragonlance, basically. That's about all he's got going for him. It's so desperate, he's holding a bullwhip at the moment. It's, a jump in. Yeah. They've got him. Global Silence might save. Chase is still on TB. He's got Sunder up, but he's not going to be able to get it. Now UK will be chased down. Stormhammer, Silence, it won't matter. You've already got the God Strength. He'll not tank the arrow, he'll just take the kill. Charge in among Dire. Shadowblade finally up. Epicenter being channeled. CDR could be in danger. They'll go after Shazam, and now the cleave. CDR on an ultra kill. Army Geniuses. They've only got one left. And it's not going to be a rampage. But they are just cleaning up. I mean, if you're UK right now, if I was captaining AG, I'd be looking at calling it very soon, John. I'll be frank.
Yeah, nah. I think it's at that point. You're 10k behind at 20 minutes in, 19-6. It doesn't sound bad on paper, but you can tell from the movements of AG, it's just not synchronized. Their lineup needs to go in with a charge hour combo with DB.
Here we go. DB's caught. Stun is there. He's gone. Starbreaker just in case. They call it. UK, he's seen enough. He's like, no. If we're going to play like this, I'd rather just go to bed.
Yeah, AG. Well, the series really, I don't know if they were all there. I don't think that's up to the standard we expect from RB Geniuses. Dreammaker, though, they play really well, play really consistently. They find the 2 wins, so they start to climb up in ranking, getting that first 2-0 on their side. And you got to feel good about yourself if you're Dreammaker now. You're putting yourself above AG in terms of ranking as well. So it's a great way to end the night for them. As we are starting to go further into the groups. AG, Spirit Breaker mid is interesting tech. It needed rotations from Mirana. If you didn't, well, you can't flash farm and you don't get kills, you don't get items. I have to make a point about the Dawnbreaker. I don't know if the Dawnbreaker was really the be-all, end-all for Dreammaker. I think they had a solid draft regardless. It was just AG couldn't execute. So
Yeah, I mean, look, let's be frank. I don't think this was even a game, right? Like it just looked very one-sided. Army Genius is obviously kind of half asleep here in this game number 1 and 2, and Dreammaker. No, we're not taking any credit away from Dreammaker. They did a great job, right? Like that's the thing is they still played up to their standard and they played very well. AG, they're gonna have to go maybe hit the bed for tonight, just sleep it off. Brand new day tomorrow. I don't think the mid-spirit break is bad, John. I think it's a very bad example of, like, this game's a bad example. I mean, be fair.
yeah, for sure. Like again, I think there was a good timing for Mamang Dai there, as long as LYM came in, but it didn't come out. The same thing goes for the Dawnbreaker. We didn't actually see its max impact because it wasn't really a game. So
Right.
I don't know how to feel about it. Anyway, I guess it's just one of those things. They play too much Dota. It's too much.
Sometimes too much Dota is too much, John. We are going to head to, we're going to head off for the night. I mean, the games are over for today, ladies and gentlemen. No more breaks. It is MLP Dota and johnxfire. I believe Aries and Dan are going to be taking over from tomorrow, and we'll be back later on in the group stage. So enjoy them. But from us, we'll see you guys next time.